G'day, folks. Welcome back to another Beam 42 episode. Joining me as always is Beav. How are you, mate?
Good, buddy. Good to see you again. Looking forward to another week of footy.
Yeah, hopefully a couple of good results coming our way. But, there's been some news this week, my friend, and probably the biggest one is Bellamy signs on for 5 more years at the Storm. Surely it's only 1 more year as the coach.
Yeah, well, whether he coaches for 1 year or for 1 month, it's still a good result for them, right? Because he'll be excellent for their ability to recruit and attract, new players or good up-and-coming players, right? They want to be part of that Storm system, and having him there just, it's like if Bennett goes to another club, right? Automatically players are drawn towards it. So it helps to keep the Storm a powerhouse for years to come.
Exactly. And you got to question whether the likes of the Fox, Nico Hines and Dale Finucane would have left if they knew he was signing again for another few years. But that's probably a topic for another day. But the next topic will be the Panthers and Roosters. They're going through a genuine injury crisis. And how are they going to sustain this to even be competitive in the finals?
Well, talk about the Roosters. They won't be competitive. I don't see them competing with the top 4 teams. They're just there to make up the numbers, just like maybe the Gold Coast will be if they reach the top 8. But the Panthers, look down a few at the moment. They still got a few weeks until they get to the finals, right? So Cleary, they'll make sure he's right until he comes back. Toto's out for 6 weeks, right? Elliot Yeo, what's his name? Isaiah Yeo. He'll be back once he gets his head straight. Fisher Harris is back in a few weeks' time. They're going to be okay. They're still going to be there when the whips are cracking.
Yeah. Look, I tend to agree with you. Panthers, they'll get through. They might slip to 3rd. They are still a really quality side. And just to add to that, they've signed TPJ for the rest of the year. And I think that's a very astute signing for this time of year.
Yeah, look, very good player. We've been talking that we thought they were 1 forward short, and then they pick him up, right? Basically a representative player, as long as keep his dickhead antics to himself, right? So which I think in a good team that will happen, right? Because he just won't carry on like he does sometimes with the Broncos. So look, good pickup, and I think it certainly bridges the gap versus the Storm having another good forward.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And look, Penrith just needs to make sure there's no bikie haircuts available around that area, and they'll be fine. And then, look, we move on to something that I find a little bit tragic is RTS, one of the best fullbacks and the best Dally M recipient I've ever seen when the boys did the haka. He's called it a day.
Well, he hasn't called it a day. He's gone to rugby union, right? So he's still playing some sport somewhere, right? So, some look at it as a fantastic career. Others say he's a deserter, right? So for me, look, I think he's been a great player. The thing about him is he's a selfless player, right? So he's always, speaks very well when you hear him talking to the media. He seems a very classy guy. So hats off, Rog. Boy, are we going to do a quick haka now?
Kamate, harder. That's all I know.
Fail.
We'll cut that. But yeah, look, farewell RTS. Look, I've really enjoyed watching you play, but I wish you no luck in Union. So look, we'll go to round 20 games, and not a bad game to kick off the round, and it's Roosters versus the Eels.
Yep. Wounded Roosters against, I guess Moses is a big out for the Eels. Look, I think the Eels will win this. I think the Eels will win it pretty easy. Just got a really good forward pack. Takiaho back for the Roosters this week, but coming off the bench. I'll go the Roosters. Sorry, got the Eels winning this one by 8.
Yeah, hard to disagree. Look, I like to think the Roosters are a chance, but realistically, Eels forwards are they're still solid, and the Roosters are going to struggle. They're mismatched with players all over the place, and they still just can't cover for that 6 position that when Kiri left early in the season. But anyway,
so just a quick one. This game's been played in BB Prince Stadium in Mackay.
Beautiful.
Is there any memories of you being a young footballer running around BB Prince Stadium, in Mackay and the under 7s?
No, I was not allowed to play rugby league in Mackay, nor was my brother, and it was kind of a very nasty point of contention. So, but we were allowed to play hockey. So, it was just over the road where the footy field was, and we were not allowed to play league. So, anyway.
Hit with sticks, but not hit with arms. Nice.
Correct. That's right. Yeah. So, anyway, we move on to the Tigers and the Warriors. And look, to be honest, if the Tigers have any chance of sneaking into the 8, it has to be this week.
If the Tigers can't beat the Warriors this week, then Madge needs to give up his TV show. Look, the Tigers will give it to the Warriors this week. Warriors haven't got much going for them at the moment. They've lost Rog. Basically, he's the heart and soul of their team. So I think the Tigers will win this one, but the Tigers, I just don't think have got that many points in them. So Tigers will only win this one by 4.
I'm actually going the other way. I really think the Warriors will just towel up the Tigers by about 10. I don't think the Tigers have a forward pack that can match the Warriors. And Tanua Brown has come back from the Dragons to come back and play for the Warriors. And I don't know, Reece Walsh is a pretty solid player, and I just do not rate the Tigers. So look, good luck, and I hope it's a 0-0 draw or a 100-point draw, and 6 players are injured from both teams because these teams are chasing the Gold Coast.
Right.
Then you follow up with the Broncos v the Cowboys, the Queensland matchup, and I know my mum will be really cheering on the Cowboys towel up the son-in-law's Broncos. Yeah,
well, and I think that the Cowgirls are going to get this one, right? So Broncos played well last week, right? But a lot of that was on Payne Haas, I think. So I'm going to back the Cowboys to win this one. It'll be a tight one, like the Broncos-Cowboys games always are. This will be golden point. The Cowboys will win with a Kyle Felt try in the corner.
Nice. Look, I agree. I think the Cowboys will sneak home. It is just amazing that, and they did it last week. Jake Granville playing fullback. He was solid last week, but he is not a guy that you picture as a fullback. But gee, he did a good job last week, and I think he'll do the job against the Broncos again, because they've got Gamble and Croft kicking the bombs, and really they've just got no skill. So good luck. And sorry,
nothing. Play on.
6 more.
6 again.
So all right. So we move on to the redemption game, which is the Dragons v the Rabbits. What chance do you give your boys, mate?
Yeah, well, I had a look at the draw for Saturday. Dragons play the early game, and then the late games, the game of the round, Storm Panthers. And I thought, how am I going to make it 4 hours later if I'm start drinking watching the Dragons play? So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a beer a try for the Dragons, right? And therefore, I'm definitely going to be sober enough to watch the Penrith Melbourne game, right? So,
Nice.
Look, Dragons, Rabbits, what I like, we've got rid of all the people who need to take the game off for suspension. That's a good thing. And I also like that we're playing a lot of kids, right? The kids who will be playing for us in the future, right? We've dumped Pepe Le Pew, what's his name? Can't remember his name. Cody Ramsey, thank you. Pepe Le Pew, Cody Ramsey. But in his place, we put Corey Norman.
Nice.
Corey Norman in the centres.
Mm-hmm.
So Dane Gagai and Campbell Graham could score 6 each in this game, I think. Yeah. So, but in saying that, I can smell an upset. So, so Dragons are going to win this one by 8 points.
Wow. Mate, look, I don't know how to put this to you nicely, but I honestly thought you fielded your best team you could last week for a game you should win, and now you were just going to bench everybody because you're not going to win this week, and now you're like, oh, crap. So, look, I see the Rabbits putting 60 on you. It's not going to be a pretty day. So, look, let's move on to something else so that we maybe make you a bit happier, but... Knights and Raiders. Now, this is a key game for the final 8.
Yeah, this is a game that if the Knights are going to be a chance, they have to stand up here, right?
Yeah.
They have to stand up against a team who now thinks they're a top 8 team, right? So a couple of weeks ago, I don't think the Raiders thought they were, or they hoped they were, but now I think they've got that belief. So Raiders team, they're not traveling that great, right? They're still missing, the fullbacks out.
They're on their 5th.
They lost their halfback. I just feel that if Mitchell Pearce was there and he had a few games under his belt, then I would go the Knights. But I just think that the Raiders will get the chocolates in this one, and I'm going to back the Raiders to win it by 8 points.
Okay. My money is on whether or not Kalen Ponga is healthy. If he can be a shadow of himself, then I think the Knights can sneak home. I just don't think the Raiders are that good. Mind you, they get Whiten back this week, which is a big in for them, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is going to be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to not drink during the Dragons and Rabbits because I think that'll be a great game. And then the Storm v Panthers, which was touted to be the round of the year, match of the year. But now the Panthers are missing like 6. I don't know. I think Storm will just romp it home.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're the Panthers and you're down on a few troops, and you get beaten by 20, you wipe it like a dirty ass, right? It's like it's gone, right? You don't worry about it.
Yep.
But if they beat the Storm, then the Storm would be like shock horror, right? So the Panthers, I see, have got nothing to lose in this, right? They get towed up, and people go, well, they're missing a bunch of troops, right? So I think this is a free swing for the Panthers. That said, they don't have enough to go with Melbourne here, right? With Harry Grant in 19, so he's a chance of playing as well. I don't think they'll play him, right? But yeah, I do think Storm will win this one pretty handsomely, 20 plus.
Yeah, and look, you make a really good point. It is a free swing for the Panthers because no one's going to say that they're no good because they lose, and so good luck to them. And Brian To'o being out for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that's probably going to impact in towards the first week or 2 of the finals too, which I think is a pretty serious issue for them. So, but anyway, look, I've got the Storm winning this by 12 plus, just based on Munster being back, Kafusi being back. It's just a different side. And then we go to the scariest match of the round, the Dogs v the Titans. Titans have to win this, but I can smell a real upset, and that worries me.
Yeah, I think you're just being a pussy. Look, the Dogs, they've made a couple of key changes to their team. They've moved Corey Allen from the wing to fullback and Nick Meaney from fullback to the wing. Right. And they've added Kyle Flanagan back into their team. Mm-hmm. Now, talk of musical chairs in your halves, right? You know, Barrett's either got no idea or he's like, okay, I just can't play you again because you stink, right? Therefore, I have to bring this guy back. So, look, in the end, I think it all comes down to the forwards for the Titans versus the forwards for the Bulldogs. And Luke Thompson out suspended. That's a huge out for the Dogs. And I think the Titans will win it. And they'll come over them quite a lot in the last 20 minutes. And Tits to win this one by 16 points.
Nice. Look, I think the Tits will win it as well, but it does worry me. It's exactly like the Broncos music box in the halves. They just don't know what to do. But it's just a Titans thing. Teams we're supposed to beat, we just don't. Anyway, Sharks and Manly to round out.
Can I just ask one question though, right? It's retro round.
Yep.
Are you going to wear Dolphins or Chargers or Seagulls or whatever else, Giants?
Yeah.
What jerseys are you going to wear this week?
I've only got the Chargers one, and for some reason, my brother's Giants jersey has gone missing, and he blames me for it.
I'm sure.
Probably fair, but
Guilty.
I have no recollection of it. But I'll be wearing the Chargers jersey for retro round, and I reckon the other three blokes that have that jersey will be doing the same. So
absolutely,
yeah. So that was the jersey I wore when we signed Luke Bailey. And I went to a game with you at the Dragons to watch that last.
At Cogra.
That's right. Yeah.
Cogra. Yeah. Sitting on the hill. Yep.
Yeah. How long ago was that, my friend? Jeez.
Happy days.
Yes. So speaking of happy days, I think Manly will absolutely stomp all over the Sharks to finish off the round. What do you think?
Well, I hope so. I'm hoping that Manly win this one by 41 points.
Right. Reason for the number?
3-point field goal from 50 plus.
Oh, okay. So you've instigated a new rule. I like
new
it.
Rule, yeah.
Nice. Nah, well, it's hard to disagree. Manly's just going to rump all over them. And I've got Manly by 12 plus. So, all right, then. So we're just going to move on to a quick summary of a few likes and not likes, and we're going to call it We Non for this week. So, mate, what's your thought on Dale Finucane signing 4 years with the Sharks?
So just the context behind this, right? Because we're an educational program, we're trying to teach people international language, and we being French for yes and non being no. Correct. So, Dale Finucane, do I like it? 4-year deal. No. I think a year too long. Plus, what are they going to do with Cameron McInnes? They picked up McInnes to play lock, and I think that Finucane's wasted if you stick him in the front row. You need some grunts up there doing that hard work. So I think they're going to find that they've got a few too many guys who play in that middle third, but are the smaller players, right? So unless McInnes can be turned into a second rower, I'm going to say no.
Well, McInnes was a hooker for you boys for a little while, right? So I wonder whether they're thinking they can split his time there, but I actually think Finucane's 2 years too long on this deal. So I'm a non as well. I just don't like signing forwards over 30 for more than a year or two. Anyway, so we'll move on to Flegler not being sent off for the high shot on the weekend.
No. There is zero chance that he should have stayed on the field, that Flogler. So if Fuimiano got 5 weeks for a bitch slap on Ryan Pappenhausen in Magic Round, how is it that this guy stayed on the field and is only going to be suspended for, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, right? Yeah. It just seems ridiculous that the league has gone soft. And mind you, I think it's the right thing. He should have been sent off, but the suspension is probably the right thing. They just went too heavy during that Magic Round period.
And I agree. I think they went really heavy-handed over the top with all of the send-offs and suspensions during that 2 or 3 week period. Now they basically just stopped doing it. If this was not a clear send-off and a 2 week suspension, I'm not sitting here in front of my Titans jersey. But yeah, I think the 2 week suspension is fair, but it should have been a send-off. Yao was gone for the game because he was clearly knocked out. So anyway, so the man of the moment, who's the centre of the Tigers reality show, is Madge safe to stay as coach next year?
I think Madge is safe. If you watch him during that Titan show, geez, he's a passionate guy, and I think he does a good job in trying to instill that passion into a bunch of guys who have the combined IQ of a cardboard box. So give him a few more players that are his players, and I think he'll start to get better results because he'll get guys who want to go with him. At the moment, he's just got too many floggers in there, right? You know, BJ and James Roberts. I know he picked up those guys, but he was trying to, it's redemption stuff, right? It's not what you want when you're trying to make a team, right? So I'm going to say yes, the guy keeps the job next year.
Yeah, I say we as well. And I'm glad you pointed out that he signed those 2 guys, but they were desperation picks just to get name players for the club. And yeah, he is definitely safe for next year. And the talk of Flanagan coming back. Now, this is a whole nother topic. The guy was suspended for 5 years for being the kingpin of the peptide drama. And he's a commentator and talked about being as another coach. He should be just black flag for the rest of his life, but we'll talk about that another time. And just look oh, hang on. You want to say something?
Well, I just want to say that even murderers get out of jail. So, at some point in time, he's got to be absolved. He's got to have done his time.
Yeah, and I agree. When he's 98, perhaps. So anyway,
maybe they should make him coach the Dogs and his son Kyle.
Nice. You know what? And take away all of the people they've signed for the last 2 years. I think that would be a fair way to treat that flog.
You are a spiteful piece of shit. Yeah,
I am, and I did not like the fact that he was able to be your assistant coach at the Dragons while suspended. But anyway,
well, look where it got us.
Yeah. Yep. Pound of flesh. So anyway, the last topic we're going to talk about is whether, with RTS's farewell, should he have stayed on for the rest of the season?
I flip-flop on this one. But for the team, it should be a we. But, I understand, these guys have done hard yards and there's a closing of a travel bubble to New Zealand. And if he didn't go now, he wasn't going to be able to go back for an indeterminate period of time. So I'm going to say, I'm not sure which the right answer is, right? I think it's okay. So I'm going to say no. Right.
Yeah. And I'm with you, mate. It was all about the travel bubble, and he would have stayed if that wasn't getting closed in this week. So I'm a non that he should have stayed the season. He had to go and deal with his family. And what benefit would it be that he stayed for the last 6 weeks? Zero. So anyway, mate, look, thanks for all your comments this week, mate. It's been a bit of back and forth this week, a little bit of disagreement, but it's always good conversation. So hope you have a good weekend, mate, and I hope all your tips come through.
You too. All right. Go the Dragons on Saturday.
They're due.